Welcome to True Crime with Strategic Eyes.
Strategic back again. Ladies and gentlemen, today is the show where we are going to watch together whether STEPHAN Sterns accepts his fate and pleads guilty for the crimes that he committed against Madeline Soto. Today is a huge day for the Madeline Soto case. Now, that starts at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. But I thought that it was important, ladies and gentlemen, that we start, at least until that court proceeding starts. I thought it's important that we start in the beginning, that we start where it all started, ladies and gentlemen. I want to start playing some of these interviews. Like the first interview, and we'll probably only be able to get through 2 until the court proceedings start, but rest assured, we will be ready when that court proceeding starts. You won't miss 1 minute of it. But I want to start off with, how did we get here? Because understanding where we got here is what's going to allow us to accept where we're going to be in the next 30 to 45 minutes. These are some of the first interviews that Jen Soto and STEPHAN Sterns gave when we first found out this beautiful angel's name, Madeline Soto. Let's do it.
Okay. So the first question is if I can have your first, your last name and spell them both out for me.
Okay. Jennifer Soto, JENNIFERSOTO.
Mother.
Mother.
Jennifer, tell me how you feeling right now.
I feel like I can't breathe. All I keep thinking about is, where is she? Is she safe? Is she okay? But we're all a wreck. My entire family is a mess. We're just so worried.
When did you first realize, or when did you file a missing report?
We filed a missing report. We called the police at like 4:45 yesterday, 4:45 p.m. But she actually went missing early that morning, around between 8:45 and 9 o'clock in the morning. She went missing. We had dropped her off close to the school. She wanted to walk the rest of the way. Sorry.
Remember that? You guys remember how pissed I got when this happened? And she's smiling? I was pissed.
That should be it. Sorry about that. We dropped her off at school, close to school. She wanted to walk the rest of the way.
Remember that? We dropped her off. She wanted to walk the rest of the way. Remember the lies?
I'm allowed to share.
Remember those
Whatever you
lies?
feel comfortable sharing.
Remember all these lies that she told us? I gotta get the wig ready. I gotta fluff it. You guys want the wig for court, so we're gonna fluff it up, make sure it's nice and good. Get all that dust out. Remember those lies she told? We dropped her off. She wanted to walk the rest of the way. You weren't there, Jen. You weren't there. The question is, will you be there for the trial or for the plea deal? Are you going to be there for the plea deal, Jen? Because you weren't there when he dropped off Madeline, even though you just said you were.
I know you had conversations with detectives. Not sure what that conversation is, but whichever you feel comfortable sharing, that we'll put the awareness out there.
Yeah, she was spotted walking by the church, by the middle school, on the cameras. They saw her hang out in the parking lot for a little bit and then get up and leave. They didn't see a vehicle or anything else. They just saw her walk away around 9 a.m. heading towards the school, but she never made it. Yeah.
What has the school said? Have you given in contact with the school?
Yes. That they're doing everything they can. They've given me all their resources. The principal's called me. They've looked at their cameras. I don't think they've caught anything on the cameras is too far away from the sidewalk. Everything is too grainy, so they can't see specific faces. But they've looked. I'm just waiting to hear anything else from them.
Is this normal behavior?
Not at all.
To just not show up or call or text or anything?
Not at all, no. She, from time to time, she will leave her cell phone at home accidentally, and that's actually what happened yesterday. She left her phone at home. She went to school. But that happens from time to time. She's got ADHD, her memory. She's very forgetful. So yeah, there's no
There
way
she
to
go, blaming
track her
Madeline
right now,
again.
'cause I have,
She got
well,
ADHD.
the detectives now have her phone.
Shut up.
But this isn't normal behavior now.
What was the last thing, I guess, the conversation that you two had, you and your daughter?
We spoke about her birthday party. She had a birthday party on Sunday. She had a great time. I couldn't make it because I was working. But she had an amazing time. She was so happy with all her gifts. I told her good night, and
Yeah, I still am not convinced that Jen Soto ever spoke to Maddie that night. If you look at the timetable that Jen gives us, the official timetable that she gives law enforcement, she only gave herself 30 minutes to talk to Madeline. And then we see text messages between her and STEPHAN Sterns where she's talking like she's not even home. She's like, is she in bed sleeping? And he's like, she's building her nest and all that stuff. Like, you don't have these kind of conversations when you're only separated by one flight of stairs. This was a small townhouse. This wasn't a massive house, 3, 4, 5 bedroom house. This was a townhouse that's, slotted in between other houses. We all know what a townhouse is. They're built to have as many of them on a property as possible so that the developer can make as much money as possible. You may have 2 floors. You might have a basement, a first level, and a second level. Sounds good. It is good. You have your own place to live, but it's not huge. It's not a mansion. She could have easily have gone upstairs. She was talking to STEPHAN Sterns like she was not home. She didn't talk to STEPHAN Sterns like she was right downstairs and she wanted to know if Madeline was sleeping. For most human beings, they would just go upstairs and see what's going on. So to this day, I don't believe that Jen was home. I've never seen evidence that prove that Jen was home and actually spoke to Maddie and saw Maddie before Maddie passed away. Now, did she come home at some point? Sure. I'm not saying she wasn't home at all. I'm just saying that I think she got home after Madeline was already, quote unquote, in bed. But let's keep going.
Yeah, that was it. I wasn't the one who took her to school in the morning. That was my partner. But yeah.
13?
She's 13 years old, yes.
13, Madeline. What are you thinking right now?
In my heart, I feel like somebody took her. This isn't like her to just pick up and run away, or just not go to school. I don't know what to think.
Friends, the friends' parents, you've contacted and
Everyone.
went through every single person.
Remember, immediately Jen tried to sell us on the lie that it was sex trafficking, and that's why Maddie was missing, and somebody took her away and ex-trafficked her. Remember, it was the Mexican mafia, and they're gonna take Madeline to Monaco and put her in a brothel and all that crazy stuff. I made half of that stuff up, by the way. But she felt that somebody had kidnapped her child and was trafficking a child. Remember that? Yeah, we remember that. All lies. Just like saying that we took Madeline to school and we let her out before the schools because she wanted to walk. Just like those lies.
Everyone that we know that she knows, we've contacted them all, reached out to them. The parents have gone out to search and look for her as well. And we haven't come up with anything yet.
I've seen a lot of posts on Facebook, Hunters Creek rants and raves and what have you. Did people say that they were going to conduct some type of like search party or anything?
A lot of people have asked me to volunteer, like if there is one, if they can do one. I have people passing out flyers, going to every store in that vicinity, a gas station, church. I think people were being stopped in the street this morning in front of the school to see if they've seen anything, if they've heard anything.
So people keep saying like that one reason why they agree with the plea is because they didn't want STEPHAN Sterns to see the pictures. Personally, I don't care if the bad guy is getting satisfaction or gratification from the pictures. I care about justice. But they're not showing tons of CSAM in the trial. They're not going to do that. They don't do that. They'll empty out the court. They'll redact photos. Like, they're going to maintain the dignity of the victim. It's not a free-for-all. It's not like the jury's going to watch STEPHAN Sterns have, unfathomable intercourse with Madeline. It doesn't work that way, right? So get that out of your minds, people. Like, showing dead bodies and stuff is a whole lot different than CSAM. So there was never going to be a moment where people in the court, much less a jury or even STEPHAN Sterns, would see explicit photos of Madeline being abused. It was never going to happen. It doesn't work that way in court, right? So if that's the reason why you agree with the plea deal, then make your decision based on something else, because that's not an accurate basis to make that decision on. Let's keep going. And if anybody who's just joining us right now, we are going to be watching the plea, the alleged plea that's going to occur at 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. But until we get there, we're starting out where this all began, when Madeline was first found to be missing allegedly, and Jen Soto and others were pleading for the public support in finding what we all thought at that time could have been a missing little girl. So we're starting from the beginning, because based off of what they say, we're going to be coming to the end of this saga today. And what better way to end this saga today than to starting off in the beginning? And all we ask from you guys is please hit that like button. We have almost 300 people watching us right now on the stream and only 128 likes. And I think we could get a little bit more likes than that.
My family they're going all out right now. Yeah.
I know as a mother, a lot is going on in your brain.
So much.
To bring her back home. What have the law enforcement told you that you are able to share?
I mean, that they're doing the best they can. They've had detectives come out, interview us. They took a piece of her clothing for the canine dog to see if they can sniff her out. I'm not sure when that's being done.
Do you have any inkling where she possibly could be? Like, if you would say, okay, last time I went to work and came back, she was at Jane's house or Sabrina's house, and maybe I forgot to check that house, or she played at this park one weekend, maybe she went back there or something like that.
We've looked everywhere we could have thought, and anywhere she would have been. She would have known to wait for me at the school. But we did check if she could have walked. My mom's office is closed.
That's another thing. I never was fully convinced that Jen Soto actually went to the school as long as she said she went to the school. It never made sense to me that Jen could say that she was at the school probably, I think, like an hour and a half to 2 hours before dismissal for Madeline. And we saw the layout of the school, and she could be parked in front of the school and never see Madeline leave. And then decide, hey, I'm just going to go. Like, Jen came back to the school eventually. And so there are people who could attest to the fact that Jen came back to the school. But Jen went to the school at first, and she was there for an hour to 2 hours before dismissal. and she's waiting out there. Then when the school dismissal bell rang, Jen left 5 minutes after. 5 minutes after the bell rang, she said, oh, I didn't want to hold the line up, so I left. Max I ever heard was 10 minutes. But between 5 and 10 minutes after that, she's like, oh, the bell rang. There's cars behind me. I didn't want to hold the line up, so I left. She didn't speak to any teachers. She didn't park her car in the visitor lot, in the staff lot, wherever, on the sidewalk. She didn't, and asked a principal like, hey, I've been out here for 2 hours and I haven't seen my daughter. Did my daughter go to school today? No, she left. And then she said, well, I was going to drive around the route that I thought she would take to get to my mother's job in the hopes that I'd see her along the way. So I drove and then I went to my mother's job and my mother's like, she's not there either. I never got any proof in this case that ever happened. And it didn't make sense to me because if you're a parent and you go out to the school, this is a middle school, this is not high school, where kids are getting out all different times. Like at my kid's high school, my oldest daughter's high school, you got some kids, her schedule, she was getting out at like 2 o'clock. There's other kids that's getting out at 3 o'clock, other kids getting out at 4. There's some kids getting out at noon. So the kids are getting out at all different times. Some kids are starting school at 6 a.m. Some kids are starting school at 8 or 9 a.m. So they have different shifts of school. This is a middle school. Everybody goes to school at the same time. Everybody leaves school at the same time. When that bell rings, it's the bell for everybody. School is over. Now, if you have after-school programs, you have sports, you have aftercare, which is daycare, that's a different story. You go to those clubs, you go to those sports, you go to daycare. But school is over. So the bell rang and school was over. And you were out there an hour and a half before school was over. You would have saw if your daughter left. You would have saw. You'd have seen her come out the front door and walk. You didn't see that. Then you stayed 5 to 10 minutes after the bell rang, still didn't see your daughter, and your intuition wasn't, let me go and ask a staff member if my kid is here. Your intuition was to drive off and see if you could see her along the road walking. It never made any sense to me. It's contrary and opposite to what anybody else would do. It just seemed like a lie to me. Let's keep going.
The school, we checked there. We checked the walking paths that she could have taken. We've checked all of her friend's house. I think we've checked everywhere I could think of, honestly.
What do you think? Oh gosh, I just had it tip of my tongue. What was she wearing?
She was last seen wearing a green hoodie, black shorts, white Crocs, a black JanSport backpack with gray hibiscus flowers on it. That's about it.
And this is not like her.
Not at all.
To run away, an argument, anything like that to provoke her?
She's never done anything like this, no. And we haven't had any arguments recently to have this outcome.
What school?
Have a
Hunter's
shot
Creek
if I
Middle
go to
School.
trial tomorrow.
Well, not necessarily. Again, the idea is you have
Is
to
there
do this
anything that you
motion.
think our viewers
Sometimes,
need
like in
to
this
know
type of case, it scores so much prison
about
time or
the
life
way you're
that there's
feeling?
nothing to lose. You might as well keep going forward and hope that the state will buckle down later and say, listen, we're going to give you a better deal. But the issue you make all these motions is because you don't want it set up for a failure later for appellate reasons. If as a defense attorney, if you don't challenge all the evidence, then the defendant, after he's sentenced, come back and appeal and said, hey, the attorney did not.
I'm sorry. I'm like over here like, where is that coming from? So this is news. All right, so we'll keep this. Aki wants me to use this over Fox 35. We'll take a poll. Which one should we use? Fox 35 or... Okay, so Fox 35 started playing. That's why. They're in the background doing their legal analysts. We'll do a poll. Which one should we use? News 6 or Fox 35? But yeah, we're about to get started soon.
The way the family's feeling. Madeline.
We are desperate for any answers, anything that you could do to help. I'm here for it. Just please, if you see my daughter, just please bring her home. I just hope you're okay, Maddie. I hope you're safe. I hope you're not hurt.
I'll be not hurt.
I just hope she's okay.
When did you notice that she was missing? Because this was at the beginning of the morning.
She got dropped off in the morning. We did not notice until after school pickup at 4 o'clock when I went to go pick her up and she wasn't at school.
So we're going in 24 hours now.
Yeah.
Just about.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing. No word. No text message. No messages anywhere from her. I've looked at all her social medias.
Yo, big shout out to Dahlia with a 1 gift membership. Whoever got that membership, make sure you thank Dahlia. And Mallory Beavers is celebrating 12 months as a patrol member. Says, I'm honored to share my 1-year anniversary with Maddie. That's so beautiful, Mallory. And thank you for supporting the channel and believing in our mission. You are amazing. Let's keep going.
I've looked at all her games she could have played with, any app. No weird conversations, nothing strange. Everything was conversations with just normal friends or us.
She knows how to get home by herself, as if, like, let's just say, to take a bus or an Uber or something like that. She would know how to get home alone, correct?
I'm not sure.
Okay. They starting to do their
I
thing.
don't know if she would know how to get home. Maybe, I mean,
Oh shit.
if someone, I'm thinking
I
if
think
someone,
we're doing it. I think it's starting now. I think it's starting.
Eve of his sexual battery trial.
Nah, this is old.
And we expect to hear shortly what this means and what all is going to come from this. I want to bring in legal analyst Dr. Sunny Slaughter, who is joining us live now via Zoom from Washington, D.C. And Dr. Slaughter, we appreciate you joining us. I know this is a case that you have watched closely as well, and we were preparing for a trial, and now a plea hearing this afternoon. What should we be watching for?
Fox 35 won.
Thank you for having me so much. I really appreciate this. What we should be looking for is exactly what this plea is going to be. Is he going to plead guilty to the sexual assault charges? There are approximately 60 of those. Is he going to plead guilty to the murder charge? And is the prosecution going to accept this? And whether or not the judge is going to say that it's okay to accept it, and whether the death penalty is actually going to be off the table.
All right, she's a talking head. Why? She just said, is the prosecution going to accept this? We're not going to be sitting here if the prosecution didn't already accept it. The only question that we have here is, will the judge accept it? All right. So just talking head stuff. I don't like that when these people are talking and they're not informed with what's happening. All right. You don't just schedule a plea hearing if you already don't have a plea deal ready to rock and roll.
Because it doesn't have to be off the table, even though we're having this hearing right now. They could still move forward with a death penalty case, a death penalty.
You know, here we are now. I'm just curious what you make of the timing of this.
I think it is self-serving for this defendant. I think he wants to save his life, not necessarily in the interest of justice.
Yes.
But this is what he can do to save himself from dying potentially.
The problem is the prosecution agrees with it. That's the problem.
Let me adjust that.
All right, so this is stock footage they're doing in the background. This is not STEPHAN Sterns, I don't believe. All right, big shout out to KCC, who's a recruit member. Thank you so much for joining us. Yesenia Shori, joining us as a recruit member. Rosie80 sent a $1 super chat. Dahlia gave a free gift membership. Mallory celebrating her 12 months anniversary as a patrol member. Tanta37 with a $5 super chat says, Aki rules. What she says, we do. Oh my gosh, you got fans, Aki, man. We're gonna have to bump you from the show or something. I hate Aki, yeah. I'm just joking. Daisy May Photo with a $10 super chat says, good luck, thank you so much. And Jeanette Mason celebrating 4 months as a White Shield member. And she says, please don't accept it, Judge. All right, let's keep going.
And to indicate if they were involved, will he provide that information to law enforcement so they can extend their investigation and continue to search out whether he was the only one that was involved in these charges against Madeline and potentially others. So, you know, as you said, we were gearing up for tomorrow with jury selection and, you know, for that trial to begin. But I think we need the details of his heinous behavior and
Yes.
activity so we can put some of this to rest, including the investigation portion. But
I
hopefully
agree.
they're still investigating.
I agree.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and get us inside the courtroom here so we can listen in as this gets underway.
Yes.
It does sound like the audio quality is not the best at this time.
Oh,
I'm going to
boy.
try to adjust things here and see what we can
Let's
do.
see if we can try a different channel. Oh, my God. We need to get a different channel, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see how it sounds here. I think the audio is going to be better with this channel, with News 6.
Special considerations in the addendum to the plea form.
No, Your Honor, we are just incorporating the plea addendum into the plea.
I bumped the sound up, guys. Let me know what you think about the sound. I'm trying my best here. Let's get the judge wig. Oh, my God.
State of Florida filed a notice of intent to seek the penalty of death. That was on June 7th, 2024. Is the state formally going to be withdrawing that notice of intent to seek the penalty of death?
Judge is so, he's never got the sound right.
Thank you. Should that announcement be made by the state of Florida, the proposed sentence will be the maximum sentence allowed by law. Mr. Sterns, I'm going to place you under oath.
Judge never got the sound right, man. Come on.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you are about to enter into this case to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Oh, my gosh. His sound is good. That's good.
I have two plea forms in my hand. One document looks like this. Second document looks like this. They're each plea forms for your respective cases. They each have a signature. That signature is the same on both plea documents. That signature is next to my finger. Can you tell me if that is your signature?
It's hard to tell from here.
What?
Will you provide these forms?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defendant?
Dude, you know you signed them, so why are you pretending like you didn't sign them now? This is so stupid. He is such a piece of crap, man.
Yes, it is.
What your signature and a set of initials after each of the 26 paragraphs on each document, those initials being SS, tell me is that you have had an opportunity to read these documents. Do you have any difficulty reading and writing the English language?
I have no difficulty.
And your signature indicates that you are aware of each of the 26 paragraphs and all of the terms and conditions of these two documents. Is that correct?
That is correct.
I have a secondary document. It is an addendum to the plea form. That document is 4 pages long. It appears to have the same initials on the bottom of each of the pages, as well as a signature at the conclusion of the case along with your attorney, Ms. Borden and Ms. Smith. I'm going to ask the deputies to please provide this document to you, and I'm going to ask you to verify that this is your signature.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, it is.
What your signature on this document tells me is that you have had an opportunity to read this document, go over it with your attorneys, and you understand the 13 additional conditions of your plea agreement. Is that correct?
That is correct.
I want to know what the conditions are. 13 conditions.
The plea form goes over what your trial rights would be. In 2024 CF 1293, you are charged with the allegation of first-degree premeditated murder. In 2024 CF 632, you are charged with 60 counts. The first 9 counts being sexual battery with a child 12 to 18 years of age. Counts 10 through 13 being sexual battery with a child 12 to 18 years of age. Counts 14 through 20 being lewd or lascivious molestation. Counts 21 through 60 being unlawful possession of materials depicting sexual performance by a child, 10 or more images.
Your Honor, counts 1 through 8 are sexual battery on a child under 12.
My apologies. Counts 1 through 8 are capital sexual battery on a child under 12. The plea form contemplates in 2024 CF 1293 1 count of murder, first degree, capital offense. Plea form on 24 CF 632 contemplates counts 1 through 8, 9 through 13, 14 through 20.
Hit that like button, people.
With the representation that the state of Florida is withdrawing their notice of intention to seek the penalty of death upon acceptance
Told
of
you.
this plea, the maximum potential sentence on 24 CF.
Oh, hell no!
Possibility of parole. Has the maximum sentence been explained to you?
Boom.
Yes, Your Honor.
No death penalty.
632 counts 1 through 8. The maximum potential sentence would be a mandatory sentence of life in prison without possibility of parole. 9 through 13 and 14 through 20 would be first-degree felony allegations with a maximum potential sentence of up to life in prison.
Dirt under the bridge.
You understand those maximum potential sentences on that case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Life without parole,
Do you
people.
understand that you have a right to have a jury trial as to each of these allegations? And at the jury trial, the
Yes.
state of Florida would have to prove those allegations against you beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt.
I told y'all
At that trial, your attorneys would
the
be with you. Their
Kohlberger case
experience
was the
certified
template
criminal-
for STEPHAN
criminal
Sterns.
expert
I
trial
said that 2
attorneys.
weeks
You
ago.
would be
I told you the
cross-examining
same thing that happened with
witnesses, examining evidence
Kohlberger
against
is going to
you.
happen
You would
with
have a right
STEPHAN
to
Sterns.
present your own
And
witnesses and your
I
own
present to you
If you had witnesses
life
that
without
did not want to
parole,
come to court,
STEPHAN
you would ask them to make
Sterns
them come
plea
to court
deal.
with a subpoena. You could have spoke at your trial, or you could have exercised your right to remain silent and not spoken. That would have been your decision after you talked those decisions over with your attorneys, and your jury would have been instructed not to consider your decision to remain silent in any way in rendering a verdict. You would have had a right to have your trial recorded and appeal any errors that occurred in the process. Do you understand you are giving up all of your trial rights if the court accepts this plea? Because I will be imposing the sentence that you have agreed with the state of Florida to be imposed upon you,
Yeah.
and we will not be having a trial on any of these matters. Do you understand those things?
I understand.
And, Your Honor, just for record purposes, counts 9 through 13 are first-degree felonies punishable by life, as the court indicated. Count 14 through 20 are actually life felonies.
Oh, boy. What a disappointment. I mean, I knew it was going to happen. I'm still disappointed.
These are life felonies with a minimum mandatory of 25 years. Is life a required sentence, or would that be a punishable by life offense?
It's a life, punishable by life offense. I just wanted the record to be clear. This court indicated first-degree felonies, punishable by life. I just wanted the record to be clear that 14 through 20 are life felonies with 25-year minimum mandatories.
So the plea form indicates that These are first-degree felonies. These are actually either capital offenses or punishable by life offenses. Do you understand that, Mr. Sterns?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is anyone forcing you or pressuring you into make the decision to resolve your case this way?
No, Your Honor.
Has anyone made you any other promises other than what has been presented to you as the agreed-upon sentence?
No, Your Honor.
Are you under the influence of any alcohol, drugs, or mental issues that cause you not to understand the decision that you are making?
I am not.
Do you understand if you are not a United States citizen, that entry of this plea would subject you to deportation proceedings?
Yes.
And if you ever before had been convicted of a sexually violent or a sexually motivated offense, entry of this plea would have subjected you to involuntary civil commitment at the conclusion of any incarcerative sentence. Do you understand that's the state of Florida law?
Yes.
Ms. Smith, do you have any competency concerns regarding Mr. Sterns' fitness to accept this plea agreement? No, Judge. Ms. Borden?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Sterns, based on your responses to the court, based on your indicating that you have reviewed this decision with your attorneys, based on your initialing of the plea form and your acknowledgement that you understand all the terms and conditions, rights and obligations on these plea forms, including the addendum, the court is going to make a determination that you are alert, that you have had an opportunity to discuss this with your attorneys, that you are making this decision freely and voluntarily and without coercion.
Judge is accepting it.
The court accepts your plea.
I knew it. Once he said all that, I knew he's accepting it. So the court accepts the plea. Case is over, guys. It's done. This is justice for Maddie. There's no death penalty case, no CSAM case, no unalive case.
Okay, you're hearing a lot of
It's
legal
over.
terminology right now. The judge just called the attorneys up to the bench, so and I apologize as the audio is a little low in the courtroom right now. We can't control that. We're just getting that feed in from the court. We're boosting it as much as possible. But here's what's going on. So STEPHAN Sterns was projected to have 2 trials.
Who's that? Is that Jen? That looked like Jen a little bit. I don't know.
This year, one for sexually abusing, many counts of sexual abuse of young 13-year-old Madeline Soto, and before she was
That's
13,
the father right there.
The trial was scheduled for later in the year. That would have been a death penalty.
The father's in the front row. The deadbeat
case.
dad. Deadbeat dad is there. I think that's the grandmother. Really, they should be in the front row because they spent more time with Madeline than he did. You know?
What's happening in this change of plea here is that, you can see our Mike DeForest there in the foreground taking notes, is that he is basically agreeing to plead guilty to many of these counts, 60 counts in one case, his life in prison. Now, what does that mean for today? Well, it looks like he could be sentenced. He's expected to, the judge will take the maximum sentence. It will be life without parole. Many of these counts, as you could hear, either give him life or life without parole.
And I don't know if that was Jen. It looked like Jen a little bit. It could have been, could not. Probably not. I don't think it's her. So don't say, oh, Strategic says she was in a courtroom. I'm speculating. I was trying to make it out with my own eyes.
And so he will be getting, in fact, we spoke with one of the lawyers involved in this case. They said Maddie's biological father will be reading the victim impact statements to STEPHAN Sterns in the courtroom today. So very dramatic day, a very, it's just been a terrible case to cover in all honesty. And this will bring a little closure for that family so they can move on and not have to deal with all these court cases. But for STEPHAN Sterns, he will not be facing the death penalty later on this year. So again, some of these counts, of course, first-degree premeditated murder is the big one. That was the one that he could have faced the death penalty for. And there were 60 other counts just all across the board, counts of child molestation, sexual battery, child porn, and all of those counts came when STEPHAN Sterns handed over his phone to investigators. So what happened when Madeline Soto went missing, of course, they look at all the family members, and STEPHAN Sterns thought he had done a factory reset on his phone. So when investigators asked him for that phone and for his passcode to get into it, he gave it to him, thinking that it was clear of any evidence. Well, I don't know if they found it on his iCloud or if they were able to dig in with technology experts there, but they were able to find a significant amount of evidence inside that phone that showed investigators, just from what we understand from investigators, it was a pretty terrible selection of evidence in there of cases of molestation for years going back to when Maddie was younger than 12 years old. So right now, if you're just tuning in, you can see those lawyers are meeting with the judge. It looks like this is all just, they're going over all the specifics of the paperwork right now.
Right.
And just trying to figure out exactly, they have to button this up very tightly and make sure that STEPHAN Sterns can't come back later and say, oh, I didn't mean to agree to that. I didn't know what I was signing. That's why the judge is going line by line right now, making sure that everything is covered so that this doesn't cause an appeal later on down the line if he has any regrets about this sentencing. So just to give you a little bit of the timeline.
All right, so we'll pause that. I mean, not pause, but mute it real quick. Just answer a few questions. Somebody asks if the plea deal is going to outline that he can't make any money off of books and stuff like that. Plea deals never usually have that type of language. And most states in the United States of America have what we call in New York the Son of Sam laws. And what the Son of Sam was a serial killer in New York back in the 70s. And he tried to make money off of his story. And the family sued, and they created laws all across the country where people such as STEPHAN Sterns cannot profit off of their story. If they do profit, that money has to be given to the family. Also, it's pretty much established in civil court that when families do sue, they usually win. When this person is benefiting off of the crime that they committed. So that's not a concern for the courts. If STEPHAN Sterns does decide to make money off of what he did, I don't know how he would, but there's always a way of making money. Well, guess what? That money will go to Madeline Soto's family. Let's get back in here.
Plea of no contest as to 24 CF 1-2.
He pled no contest.
First degree premeditated murder of Madeline Soto. Mr.
Wow.
Sterns, how do you plea to first degree premeditated murder in 24 CF 1293?
No contest.
Are you kidding me?
And as to counts 1 through 8.
Oh, hell
no! Of Madeline Soto. While she
wow.
was under the age of 12.
William J.
Dirt under the bridge.
Sexual battery of Madeline Soto between the ages of 12 and 18. And counts 14 through 20, lewd or lascivious.
He's going to plead no contest to everything.
How do you plead?
Guilty.
Oh.
Under sentencing, does the state care to offer any victim impact testimony?
He pled guilty to raping her, basically. Oh. Interesting. Very interesting.
Your Honor, the first will be a written statement from Madeline's maternal grandmother.
Oh. Madeline's grandmother, let's do it.
Yolanda Zambrano. Today I stand before you with a broken soul. I am Madeline's grandmother, but to her I was not grandma. Madeline always called me Mama. She decided that since she was little. And that's how I felt with her, like a second mother who loved her with all my heart. Madeline was a happy little girl. She loved going shopping with me. That excited her so much that it felt like everything around us turned into color. I remember her face lighting up when we went to the stores. Holding hands, laughing together in those moments, we connected and I felt like she knew she was loved, protected, and valued. At night, we loved to play. It was in those moments, just before bed, that she laughed the most. Sometimes it's hard for me to close my eyes because I still hear her laughter. It was free, sweet, and sincere laugh, a sound I will never forget as long as I live. But that laughter was silenced by a horrific act, the very man who betrayed her trust, her innocence, her body. And if that wasn't enough damage, he took her life. And with her, he killed a piece of our souls. Since then, life has never been the same. Our family is empty and broken. There are days when the pain is so great that I feel like I'm drowning. And every time I think of everything she could have been, everything that was stolen from her, it hurts even more.
Wow.
Because Maddie wasn't just a victim. She was a little girl with a beautiful future, with a unique light, with so much love to give and receive. Today I am here because Maddie can no longer speak, but I can as her grandmother. As someone who loved her with all that I am, I come to ask for justice for her memory, for everything she lived through and should never have lived through. Justice so that no one else has to go through such a horror. I will never forget Maddie, her voice, her laughter, her eyes, her dreams. All of that lives in me, and so it will live forever. My beautiful girl, one day we will be reunited and we will never be separated again. I love you with all my heart. Thank you for listening to me with deep pain and eternal love.
Right. Wow.
This is a statement from Angelica Negro Guerrero. My name is Angelica Negro Guerrero. I lived with Maddie and Jennifer in the same house for about 2.5 years.
Jen is not giving a statement.
I take the
no
liberty
statement
of
from
expressing
Jen.
myself not just as a roommate, but as part of the family, as Maddie told me several times. How can I explain how this tragedy has impacted my life? There are so many emotions. I am an immigrant, and I have lived in this country for 4 years. I left my country, Venezuela, alone with just a suitcase in my hand in search of a better future. Venezuela has been going through the worst moment in history, run by people blinded by
We don't care about your politics,
people
lady.
who have stolen the future of so many. I've
This
always
is not
been
an
against
immigration
injustice,
hearing.
abuse, corruption, and evil in general. I couldn't picture myself living in a country where I had to witness every single day how a small, corrupt group destroyed countless families and the beauty of my nation.
What?
And that's exactly why it has been so devastating for me to experience something so tragic, so close to me after coming here with a hope for a better life. I ended up living under the same roof with a man who took the life of a 13-year-old girl, and with that shattered an entire family. What is the point of having dreams, plans, and opportunities if there is no life? If there is so much evil in the world? How can I explain what I felt and how this has affected me, especially considering that this same man took nude photos of my body without my consent, violating my privacy? I felt invaded, outraged, degraded, anguished, and absolutely shattered. I constantly think that my life was in danger too. I could have died. I am also a victim. And the only reason I'm here to write this is because God is great and I know I'm under his protection.
She want her U visa.
This has affected my emotional, physical, and financial stability. I haven't been able to live with strangers ever again. Right now, I rent an apartment by myself. I pay it with all my effort just to feel safe and at peace. If I already had trouble trusting people before, now it's even harder. I can't imagine even handling a neighbor too close because it gives me anxiety.
Wow.
I tried to get psychological help to move forward, but this is something that will forever remain in my memory and continue to affect me deeply.
Wow.
To this day, I wish I could wake up and realize none of this ever happened, that this was just a nightmare. I wish I could still be spending time with Maddie, making her arepas with cheese and butter like she loved, and practicing our languages together. Wow. Me learning English and her learning Spanish. I'll never forget the words she always told Jennifer. Mommy, I would love to learn Spanish so I can talk a lot with Angelica. I think about all the time, and I wish it had been me who spoke English fluently back then. Maybe she would have opened up to me about the hell she was going through with that horrible man. I want justice for Madeline and for all the girls and women who have lived through something similar. I want him to pay for all the pain he caused her and the beautiful family I love with all my heart. I send all my love to the sky to Madeline so her soul may find peace. Angelica.
Yo, this lady gave her immigration interview for a U visa since she was a victim of a crime. That was so inappropriate. It was all about her and not about Maddie. Shame.
This is from Zemina Zambrano, a cousin to Maddie Soto. To the Honorable Court, we write this letter with broken hearts still aching from the devastating loss of our beloved Maddie Soto. The pain of losing her is something no family should ever have to endure. But the nature of her death, the cruelty, the abuse, the inhumanity has inflicted a level of trauma and sorrow that words can scarcely convey. Maddie was more than a victim. She was a daughter, a granddaughter, a cousin, a niece, and a cherished soul in our close-knit and loving family. To know her was to love her. Her spirit, her kindness, and her light remained with us, even though her life was so brutally taken. She was not only murdered, she was discarded like she was nothing, thrown into the wilderness. That image haunts our minds and wounds our hearts every day. Our grief has been compounded by the public scrutiny and the cruelty of strangers who speculate and judge without knowing the depth of our loss or the strength of our bond. We are a large family rooted in love, faith, and mutual support, and this tragedy has shaken us to our core, mentally, emotionally, and physically. Many of us suffer sleepless nights, constant anxiety, and depression. The trauma has left scars that will last a lifetime. We turn to God for comfort, and we trust that divine justice will ultimately be done. But we also place our faith in this court to uphold what is just and right. Maddie deserves that. Our family deserves that. We beg you to consider the profound impact this crime has had, not just on one individual, but on an entire family and community. Please ensure that the individual who committed this horrifying act is held fully accountable. Justice for Maddie cannot bring her back, but it can ensure that her life and her death are not dismissed or dishonored. Let there be no leniency for this cruelty. Yes. Let there be no question about the value of her life.
Absolutely.
Let justice be done.
That's a beautiful statement.
Sincerely, Jimena, please.
That's a beautiful statement. What Grandma said, what the cousin said, these are beautiful statements, and we appreciate that, and definitely did justice for this little girl. Who's this?
Ma'am, can you tell the court your name?
My name is Leticia Nunez. I was Madeline's aunt.
Can you spell your first
Madeline's aunt?
Letizia. Last name Nunez, Nunez. To Maddie. When I was 7 years old, a beautiful newborn baby was brought into our lives. And I remember being so excited because I was going to be an aunt. You gave me a sense of responsibility from such a young age because I wanted nothing more at that time than to help take care of you, play with you, and overall just make you a happy baby. You're truly missed every single day. I miss your laugh. I miss your smile. I miss your big, beautiful blue eyes. I miss doing the little things like picking you up from school, helping you with your homework, even though we both hated doing that. I just miss you and your presence. But that unfortunately was taken from us. I have so much hatred in my heart, specifically for the creature that's sitting in this room today.
I like that.
And no matter what happens or what justice could be brought, it kills me that it doesn't bring me back. I would give up my life if it meant having you here with us. Even though I was your aunt, you always felt much more like a little sister to me. Doing your hair for the father-daughter dances that my dad would take you to, letting you pick out clothes from my closet, doing your makeup and making sure it was very light because your natural beauty was worth more than any makeup product money could buy.
I
just miss you every single day, and it's left a hole in my heart from the day you've been gone. Your innocence was taken from you, and since clearly that wasn't enough for a certain someone, so was your life. You were the bravest little girl I've ever met, full of love, light, laughter, and as any positive thing I could think of, you were all of those things. I'm so blessed to have spent 13 years with someone so wonderful, and you're going to live on through all of us. Not because of what happened to you, because that didn't define who you were. I'm going to make sure my future kids know who you are, and make sure my grandkids know who you are, and so on.
That's beautiful.
Today I sit here before everyone, and all I can say is that despite what anyone thinks they know, you were so loved by each and every one of your family members, and I know you left this world knowing that.
She was. That family loved her.
I know it would pain you to see what people have to say about your loved ones, but what I think of it all is that, and what I'd want you to think up in heaven is that it's all just noise. And I find comfort in the fact that we, your family, know you were beyond loved and beyond cared for.
What we know about Jen Soto is real, but the rest of the family did love her.
I'm sorry we found out too late. But despite everything that was happening to you behind closed doors, you still remained one of the happiest human beings I've ever met. Someone who loved us deeply and made us all smile. Trying to find light in this horrible situation is very difficult, but one thing I am grateful for is that your last day on this earth was everything you wanted and more. You got the birthday you asked for. Your best friends were able to be with you. We cooked the food you specifically asked for, and overall I have the memory of sitting outside by my pool looking at you and your friends and just thinking, I'm so glad she's having a great time. And look at how grown up she is.
Word.
How she's blossoming into such an amazing young woman. I could go on forever, but I just want to leave this here by saying I love you so much, and I miss you endlessly. Everything I do from now on, any accomplishments, any decisions I make, anything that happens in my life, I'm going to do it for you and in your honor.
That's what's up, man.
I love you, Madeline Sophia Soto, and I hope you're resting peacefully now.
That's beautiful. This was a great statement she made. I love she called him a creature sitting with us. Your innocence wasn't enough for a certain someone. I love that. And I love when she said that she'd do father-daughter dances with her dad. Mind you, that means her grandfather, not her biological dad. The grandfather used to take her to father-daughter dances. I love that. It was an excellent statement.
And spell your first and last name for the court reporter.
Natalie Rosero, Nathlie. Thank you, Your Honor, for having me here today. I've known the family for over 15 years. I am best friends with Maddie's aunt and was roommates with Maddie and her mom during the time her life was ended. All of our kids are the same age, so we always try to keep them united and spend as many holidays together. I have years worth of beautiful pictures, birthdays, Christmas, and Easters we all spent together. Those are the moments I try to hold on to as I stand here today. I'm here to express what the past year and a half has been like in my experience. From the moment we found out that Maddie went missing, life has never been the same. Those first 48 hours we set out to look for her, we spread flowers, went knocking on door to door, going to every business down John Young Parkway from Kissimmee to Sand Lake, asking for the public's help. All while seeing my best friend and her family have emotional breakdowns, feeling completely helpless and terrified for Maddie, thinking how could anyone just take her? It turns out we spent almost 3 days looking in the wrong location because Stephan lied to us about where he last saw her.
Amen.
Your Honor, that's the first time in my life I've ever felt true hate for anyone.
Jen lied too, though.
The following days were filled with more sadness and distraught. We went from searching for a missing person to looking for a body. I had been searching for her as if my son was missing, so it was very difficult to accept that. We spent the rest of the week canvassing St. Cloud until they eventually found her body. Although there was a moment of relief that at least her body was found, that was the last sense of relief I've felt since that day. I was confident I had the power of discernment, but I couldn't even see the evil living in the same house. As details of the sexual abuse and her death came to light, you start to question everything. I even questioned my own faith. Having a full night's sleep became a luxury I could not afford. I was too anxious to sleep, constantly wanting to wake up from a nightmare. It wasn't until I started wishing death on him that I realized I needed help. I started going to therapy to try to deal with the grief and anger of losing Maddie the way we did. I also had to navigate my son's emotions as he finds out the cruelty that exists in this world. Holidays are not the same. The void is loud. It's hard to trust people. I am very guarded. I am hoping that when everything here is said and done, there can be some type of closure, even though Maddie's life can never be replaced. That is the only reason I am here today. As decisions are made, please keep in mind that she wasn't even my child, and I feel this way. I cannot imagine the pain, trauma, and deception that Maddie's family has experienced. I do not wish this pain and suffering on any other child or family. Thank you, Your Honor.
It's terrible, man.
Is Stephanie online would like to address the board?
Where's Jen Soto? Where are you, Jen? Jen, where are you?
Oh my God!
Jen is not here, ladies and gentlemen. Jen is not here.
By an online presence, Stephanie, you may unmute your microphone and let the court know how this has affected your family and yourself.
Can you tell the court your first and last name and spell them, please?
I can see that her microphone is still muted.
Can you hear me, Judge?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, hi. I'm sorry. To the court. Maddie brought a light into...
It's a little girl. It's a juvenile.
Maddie brought a light into my life that I would never be able to describe. With her outgoing personality and her infectious smile, her infectious laugh.
Stop showing
She
this
was
stock
so
footage of
kind-hearted,
Stephan Sterns walking
adventurous,
away.
and loving. Now that she's gone, everything's changed. The silence where her laughter used to be is deafening. The hole in my heart is bottomless, and the pain is indescribable. My family's life has been shattered. What we've endured and what we will continue to endure for the rest of our lives is a kind of pain that I do not wish on anyone. No family should have to lose a loved one in this horrible manner, especially at such too young. Her life was taken. Her future, I should say, never see her fall in love, get married, or build a future that she deserved. With her. This smile in her.
So we got some internet problems, and also she's grieving, so it's kind of messing up with the sound. But that's Jen Soto's ex-husband's daughter, who kind of like grew up as a sister with Maddie. It sounds like the call ended. You heard the
I can finish reading it.
Right. So this was like a sister,
I'm
basically.
so sorry. I'm not in a good place with connection. I apologize.
You may continue. We can hear you.
This vile and heartless crime has not only affected and traumatized my family, but so many other families as well. It has also impacted her friends, all of those who knew her, as well as the whole community.
Says court TV screen is
There are
better.
nights
Let's see.
where I can't sleep. Nights where I wake up gasping for air, haunted by what Maddie must have gone through. I am consumed by grief. I carry such an anger that it eats away at me on a daily basis. A depression I never thought was possible.
Yeah, I like court TV better.
The emptiness touches every moment of every day.
They doing
And
so much
everywhere
over
I
here.
look, I see her.
Just gonna put this over here real quick. I'm sorry, guys.
I'm so sorry. I'm not in a good place with connection. I apologize.
That other channel just kept showing us stock footage like we needed that. We don't need that. We don't need entertainment. We just want the
crime has
facts.
not only affected and traumatized my family, but so many other families as well. It has also impacted her friends, all of those who knew her, as well as the whole community. There are nights where I can't sleep, nights where I wake up gasping for air, haunted by what Maddie must have gone through. I am consumed by grief. I carry such an anger that it eats away at me on a daily basis. A depression I never thought was possible. The emptiness touches every moment of every day.
Oh, man.
And everywhere I look, I see her. I hear her laugh in my memories, and then I remember she's gone, and it destroys me all over again. To know what Maddie went through and how terrified she must have been is unbearable.
Oh, this is
The
terrible.
thought of her suffering haunts me. The cruelty of what was done to her will never stop echoing in my mind. I asked the court for something that I know I could never really have, justice. Because real justice would mean that Maddie would be here with us and not you. You still get to wake up every day, something you cruelly stole from her and from us. The way you discarded Maddie as if she was nothing and her life had no value is a true reflection of your evil. The suffering you caused her should be given back to you tenfold. You do not deserve peace. You do not deserve mercy. You deserve to carry the weight of her pain every single day, just how we will carry it for the rest of our lives. And let me be perfectly clear. Where you go after this life will not be where Maddie is.
Amen.
She is in a place of peace surrounded by love.
Yes.
You, on the other hand, will never know peace. You'll
Amen.
never see her again. You're not going where she is going. You're going to hell. Thank you, court.
Thank you, court. I
Stephanie,
love
Can
it.
you tell the court your first and last name, please?
Stephanie Soto.
Thank you.
You said you're going to hell. I love it. I love it.
Oh, hell no.
You're not going to heaven. You're going to hell.
Did you get it? I'm sorry.
Soto, we can hear you. Thank you.
Oh, my God.
You said you're going to hell. I don't know where you're going, but you're going to hell. I love it. Somebody raised that little girl right. I love it.
Can you tell the court your first and last name and spell them?
Kimberly Vialta. Your Honor, I stand here today to give you a little insight of how loved and how losing Maddie has destroyed my family. Although Maddie was not my blood, I considered her my family. And I loved her like my own niece. Maddie was a kind and bubbly child and was growing up to be the most amazing young lady. She loved arts and crafts, Taylor Swift, and sour gummy candy. I had the honor and privilege of spending many holidays and special occasions with Maddie over the years, and I will cherish those memories forever. I do not have joy or happiness left in me because this monster took that away from us when he killed Maddie. Every day I feel like life is not worth living anymore because such heinous evil exists in this world. There is not a day that goes by where I do not think about all the pain and suffering that Maddie endured. This monster took advantage of her trust and her innocence. This parasite robbed us of every moment we could have had with Maddie, and our lives will never be the same. A life sentence is not punishment enough for what he did to Maddie. However, it gives me comfort to know that he will spend the rest of his miserable life in prison. I hope he lives a long and healthy life, so he suffers every single day. Therefore, I ask the court to not take any mercy on this poor excuse of a human when imposing his sentence, because he does not deserve it. Thank you, Your Honor.
They call him slime, a parasite. They called him a creature. Man, listen. Oh, here comes the sperm donor dude. I mean, no disrespect.
Can you let the court know your names?
Curious to hear what he has to say.
Tatiana Wallace.
Tyler, what's your relationship to Madeline Soto?
Madeline Soto was my daughter.
Go ahead.
Madeline Soto was my daughter.
Mm.
She was happiness. She was a joy to be around. She was quirky and intelligent. She was curious. A little forgetful like me too. That happens sometimes.
A little forgetful like me
I just
too. What a loser.
loved her so much. And I was not able to be in her life as much as I would like to, due to circumstances and choices I'd made, due to the way finances worked. I was strained in my relationship with my daughter.
At least he's honest.
Getting better. The last time I saw her was in October.
I respect that.
2023, and she had come to visit for a few days. And when I took her back to the airport, I said, you know, you're turning 13 soon. When you turn 13, you have a choice of which guardian you're interested in staying with. Would you like to stay with me and Tati? And she said yes, that she would. And so I was this close to having my little girl, sir.
At least he's honest.
Because of the actions
His
of
choice.
this depraved man, I will never meet the woman she was becoming. And I can't grasp it. I can't grasp the selfishness of you, the deplorability of your actions. You're depraved. You're weak. You're a coward. You're a sneak thief. You crept into a family and took advantage and exploited them when they were weak.
This is true. This is true about Sterns.
It's torn my family apart. It's led to arguments about who can go where and who can get what and who can help who, but we're all on edge because it doesn't heal with time. This isn't like other deaths that I've experienced. This just gets worse. It just gets worse every time I rethink about it and the true horror of what this man visited upon her. And I can only hope that he lives a long time in prison and has those same horrors revisited upon him by his fellow inmates. Thank you.
I respect the fact that he acknowledged what he did, and I respect him for that. I do. I started off, you know, he's the sperm donor bullcrap, but he was honest that it was his decisions, and we got to be on the road for healing, so I respect him for that. I 100% respect him for owning up to his actions, because he could have did more to be in his daughter's life, and he chose not to, and at least he came before all of us and said as much. Because he said that, now I could focus my ire on STEPHAN Sterns. We also got to add that he's there right now, and Jen Soto isn't. And as we saw, Jen Soto could have done a statement virtually if she wanted.
Can you please tell the court your name? Okay, my name is Leslie Vajalta.
She ain't giving nothing. No statements, nothing.
Of Maddie's family. Most people only know Maddie as the victim of a heinous crime, but I'd like to talk about Maddie today, and I'd like to share some things that I really loved about her. I loved how fearless Maddie was. She was an amazing swimmer. She was a fast learner. The moment she set her mind to something, she did it. That's how she was about everything. She dove into everything head first, and she was so resilient. She had the most beautiful smile. It lit up our entire life. Every Christmas, every Thanksgiving, I was so excited to see her, to talk to her about her life. She's so curious. She's so smart.
It was self-serving. Of course it was.
She could sing. She loved to perform for us.
But at least he admitted that he was wrong.
I enjoyed watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Bob's Burgers. She even dressed up as Louise one year for Halloween. And I loved her witty, outspoken personality. She's so funny. And that's how I want everyone to leave here thinking about her, remembering her. She lost a lot of privacy towards the end of her life. And I want her to be remembered by her amazing qualities, not the abuse she endured and the exploitation she endured by her abuser.
Right. That's beautiful.
There's not 1 second of my life that I don't think about Maddie. I'll forever celebrate her in my heart and out loud. Maddie was too good for the world, and she did not deserve any of this. Ever since she's been gone, our family, our joy, everything is destroyed. No one smiles anymore. No one laughs. Most days I can't even leave my house. I feel like I can't breathe. And I'm not even her blood relative. I was just so lucky to be a part of her life. He took Maddie away from us. He took away her whole childhood. He took away all her potential that we saw in her, and he took everything from us. And now it's time for him to reap what he sows.
Right.
This disgusting parasite stole Maddie's youth, her innocence, her life, her joy.
The parasite.
He has stolen our sense of safety. I can't sleep. Every time I close my eyes, I see his disgusting face. I can imagine what he did to her. I know every detail. I've read everything. I will never bring children into this world because of people like him, depraved, disgusting maggots just like him. He's not the only one. May God forgive him because I definitely do not.
God is
I
better
please
than
ask
us
the
all.
court to prosecute him to the fullest extent.
Jesus!
No mercy, exactly how he did Maddie. Justice for Maddie. Thank you.
You know she really grieving, man. She had the crinkled up paper. That came from her soul.
Nothing further.
That came from her soul. She had the crinkled up paper. She was turning it around. She was getting every single word in.
Would like to thank the state attorney's office for sparing Mr. Sterns' life. And we do
You heard that?
sincerely hope that this will bring closure and help to start the healing.
Thank the state's attorneys general for sparing his life. This is all the state's attorney. This is just William J. We are here because of William J. They spared Stephan's life, not the people of Florida. They spared it. William J. chose Stephan Sterns could live.
Contest for the first-degree premeditated murder of Madeline Soto and his plea of guilty to 8 counts of sexual battery on Madeline Soto under the age of 12. Sexual battery upon Madeline Soto.
Wish this judge were talking to damn mic.
Familial custodial role and lewd or lascivious molestation. Counts 14 through 20. State, do you have an announcement as to the notice of intent to seek the penalty of death?
If you don't know who William J., that is William J. there. We can't hear the judge because the judge
We will waive
sucks.
the notice of intent to seek death. We will file an electronic null pros for counts 21 through 60.
That's William J.
And we are also asking that you inquire about waiving a PSI, just in abundance of caution.
So they can't even read it.
From the state of Florida,
Waiving the reading of the PSI.
in these cases is life in prison without the possibility
Dirt under the bridge.
of intent to seek the penalty of death has been waived. Ms. Smith, as to 2024 CF 632, is there a waiver of an entitlement to a pre-sentence investigation?
Yes, Judge.
Baldwin, as to the remaining case 2023 CF 1293, is there a waiver of entitlement to a pre-sentence investigation? If-
Yes, he is not entitled to a PSI on this.
Thank you.
I wanted to see what the court had to say about his psyche. That's what the PSI is. Basically, like, why'd you do it? Are you going to admit to it? Is he a danger to society? We know he is, but, that's the extra stuff we get.
Opportunity to hear the anguish and the fury of shattered families. Everyone in the gallery has had an opportunity to hear the anguish and the fury of community mourning and permanently diminished. Folks joining us around the state and the country remotely have heard the opportunity to hear the anguish and fury of a meaningful future that was stolen and a beautiful promise of Madeline Soto's life extinguished permanently. Stephan Sterns, you have had the opportunity to hear that anguish and fury from your actions.
Perfect.
As to first-degree premeditated murder of Madeline Soto, you are adjudicated guilty and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Guilty, LWAP. Guilty.
As to the capital sexual battery of Madeline Soto while she was under the age of 12, for each count you are sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Life in prison. No parole.
For the sexual battery of Madeline Soto between the ages of 12 and 18, you are adjudicated guilty.
Guilty.
Sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Guilty. Life in prison.
Lewd and lascivious molestation of Madeline Soto,
Nasty.
sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Guilty. Life in prison.
Sentences will run concurrently, meaning at the same time. The state of Florida has withdrawn their notice of intent to seek the penalty of death. These are the maximum sentences permitted to the court.
Maximum sentence.
Each case will have court costs that will be reduced to a civil judgment.
Nasty. Ugh. Now your parents can send you barrel candy for the rest of your life.
Court costs are $11,163.
$11,000.
That's the 24 CF 1293, $666.
Court incorporates the addendum to the plea form as to each plea in 2024 CF 632 and 2024 CF 1293. Not announced. You are adjudicated guilty as counts 1 through 8, 24 CF 632. State any further sentencing considerations?
Yes, Your Honor. With regards to count 14 through count 20 in 24 CF 632, the court sentenced to life in prison, there is a 25-year minimum mandatory with that as well. The state also provided the court with a score sheet which encompasses counts 9 through 20. It includes penetration and contact points as well. A copy of that has been provided to defense as well and the court.
Your Honor, we'd also like for him to serve his sentence with
I haven't been made
Bubba.
aware of any corrections or additions or subtractions.
Do not have a copy of the score sheet.
Put him in the cell with Bubba.
Should be with the plea form, Your Honor.
It's not. I'm going to need a copy of the score sheet, please. Ms. Smith, Ms. Borden, the total sentence points pursuant to the Criminal Punishment Code score sheet are 1,278 with a lowest permissible prison sentence in months of 937.5 months. That doesn't include sexual penetration points of 80 times 5 and sex contact points of 40 times 7. Any
Dang.
errors, corrections, or omissions to the score sheet?
80
Smith?
times 5, 40 times 70.
Your Honor.
25-year minimum mandatory sentence as to the counts requiring a minimum mandatory sentence are imposed. Mr. Sterns, you will have the right to appeal the judgment and sentences of the court. If you wish to do so, you must do so in writing within the next 30 days. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you. The appeal will be limited to the jurisdiction of the court to impose the sentence and the legality of the sentence itself. As a condition of your agreement with the state of Florida, you are agreeing not to appeal the pretrial rulings of the court. State anything else? That's anything else?
That's it. We're about to be done. He's been sentenced. He's gonna get remanded to state prison. It's over.
Let's place Mr. Sterns under. He's been previously placed under oath.
Does he want to say something?
Yes, Your Honor, I would like to make a brief statement.
Oh my gosh. The devil speaks.
I agree that it's not fair that Madeline is not here anymore. I still have a hard time contemplating a world where she's not around, a world which feels less vibrant and less colorful than it did before. I've prayed to God countless times to trade places with her.
Oh, hell no!
And unfortunately, that's just not how he works.
Blaming God?
I have nothing but sorrow for her loss. And I miss her all the time.
You killed her.
Her passing has torn me and my family apart as well.
Oh my
And she
God.
truly was a joy.
This dude is a narcissist, man.
I pray to God that she is in heaven and that he's taking good care of her. And I hope she gets to join the choir because she had a beautiful voice. I will miss her all the time. I will never not honor her memory. And I apologize for all the pain.
This is crazy.
Anything further, defense?
Aki, like, hold the sound
Plea of
effect.
sentence
I don't
hearing.
care what this guy got to say.
We'll be in recess.
He's a monster. He's a monster. This guy is a monster. Did you hear that? He acted like he didn't kill her. He acted like he's not the reason why she's gone. Unbelievable. He literally acted like he's not the reason why we're here right now. Wow. I play the sound effects while he's talking because he's not important. Because his words mean nothing. He's a monster. I don't care what the devil has to say. This guy is terrible. And that's terrible. And Aki made a good point. She said he had the last word. Why did they let him make the last word? He's supposed to make his statement before he gets sentenced. The last word is usually the judge's last word. This judge allowed the graping murderer to get the last word. You don't do that. The family says what they have to say. The perp says what he has to say. Then the judge says what he had to say, and it's over. Everybody spoke, the sentence was imposed, and then they gave him the last word. The last word belonged to STEPHAN Sterns. This is crazy. This is nuts. Wow. This is different, man. This is definitely different. They do business real odd out there in Florida, man. I like visiting. It's a beautiful state. I don't think I'd want to live there. If I'm going to leave New York, I think maybe I'd go to Texas or something like that, or Arizona, Nevada. I don't know if I'm going to Florida. I just think the east side of America, I don't know. The whole east side. I'm not feeling it no more. I want to try the west side. I want to try the other coast, the Pacific Coast region. Because we crazy. It don't matter whether you're in New York, Florida, whatever. We crazy up here, man. On this east side of America. They let STEPHAN Sterns get the final word, man. He blamed God, ladies and gentlemen. He blamed God. He spoke as though
Not a problem, Judge. Thank you.
Maddie was in a car accident and he had nothing to do with it. Let's see if we can get some commentary. See if anybody comes out. All right, people are leaving now. Law enforcement.
No contest, JLR.
I'm on the street.
Is that JLR Investigates over there? I think I see him with the press on his shirt and his hat. See what we got going on here. While we work this out. All right. Big shout out to friend. I can't see the rest of the name. Unfortunately, YouTube won't allow me. $10 super chat says, thanks for doing this with us today, Strategic.
Any comment you would like
I appreciate all your effort.
Mr. Sterns
Okay.
hasn't authorized us to speak.
Okay. That's his attorneys.
Mr. Sterns hasn't authorized.
Appreciate all your effort in bringing us the news in these cases with your specific expertise. Enjoy a fancy cup of coffee on me, my friend. Thank you so much, friend. Very kind of you. Sterns attorneys just walked past and they said that they are not permitted to speak. It looks like the stream is over here. Let's see here. Now, they said the court is in recess. Does it mean they're coming back or what? Says the court is in recess. This is crazy. See what we got going on here. All right. All right. So basically, as I stated, this is all on the prosecution, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go ahead and just mute this real quick and then we'll end it soon because it looks like we're pretty much done for the day. The prosecution agreed to this plea deal and they had a solid case for the death penalty. And unfortunately, they chose not to seek the death penalty, even though William J. assured us that he was not going to seek any plea deals with STEPHAN Sterns. This is what he said. He said he's not seeking any plea deals with STEPHAN Sterns, and he'd be seeking the death penalty. For whatever reason, William J., Mr.
Dirt under the bridge,
decided that he was going to give STEPHAN Sterns the ultimate plea. Why is this the ultimate plea? Because he's allowing STEPHAN Sterns to live. He's allowing STEPHAN Sterns to live, ladies and gentlemen. It is what it is. So this case is over at this point. It's done. STEPHAN Sterns will now be transferred to state prison, where he'll now serve the rest of his life in prison. And that is justice for Maddie. Now, listen, STEPHAN Sterns will never have the opportunity to get out of prison. He's going to spend the rest of his life in prison. And that's a fact. But it's unfortunate because Maddie deserved better, in my opinion. She deserved her trial. As painful as that may have been for some, I feel that she deserved her trial. And she deserved for a jury to decide whether STEPHAN should spend the rest of his life in prison or receive capital punishment. And unfortunately, William J. took that decision away from us. It's been a really interesting ride, ladies and gentlemen. I really enjoyed sharing this court case with you, this story with you. I hope that you guys will continue on our journey and our mission to give a voice of the voiceless. Continue watching True Crime with Strategic and continuing to support all of the victims that we try to bring to the forefront and bring awareness to. guys, I think we're done here for the day. If they decide to come back on for more proceedings on this, we will definitely cover it. But moving forward, we're going to give the Soto family the space for them to heal. We had our criticisms about some of them, not all. Pretty much our only criticism was with Jen Soto. We believed on this channel that Madeline's aunts and her mother, her grandmother, and her grandfather loved her immensely and gave her a really good supportive family. We felt that her biological mother fell short in so many avenues. But moving forward, we're not going to talk about Jen Soto anymore. We're not talking about her. We're not going to bring her into the forefront anymore. We had our issues with her biological father, Tyler Wallace. Tyler stood up, didn't really like his statement too much, but he did take accountability for the things that he did as a father to not be there for Maddie. So moving forward, we're not going to talk about Tyler Wallace anymore. The case is over now, and justice has been served, and that's the end of it. So we move on to the next victim. I think this is some of the family that might be coming in. That's why they're not showing them. I'm not sure why they have the camera down. But it is what it is. All right. I got to go take care of my kids. There's a lot I got to do. So maybe we'll come back and talk later for the members only. You just make sure nobody's important is coming out right now. Yeah, the news, they're taking out their equipment and stuff, so this is over. It's definitely over for the day. All right. Rest in peace, Maddie. We'll see you guys on the next one. Strategic is out of here. Peace.